What can we do when we experience that kind of transformation, and we may not even know about it? But one thing we can do, and we all know people in the military, is simply say, how's it going? Let them talk. Invite them to talk, and if they do, fine. If they don't, they don't. Not to force them to talk about it, and not to glibly say, everything's fine now, you're home. Because it's not fine necessarily. So I think that kind of sensitivity to realize that a person who may feel first a year ago may feel very last in their own eyes today, and it could be just a gentle touch and a caring, kind ear that allows them to speak maybe about their experiences. That may be the stimulus to turn them back around so that they can indeed take that place again in their own hearts as being number one, a person who has certainly given their life and given their energy to defending the kind of freedom that we live under. So I think as a Christian people, we may have a calling to be aware of that one situation. I bring that up for your thought in our society today. Church. Okay, let's take a look at the first shall be last, the last shall be first, in an ecclesial setting. Sometimes when I'm not here, usually it's because I have a wedding to celebrate, and it's maybe in Ventura County, and it might be in the middle afternoon or so, and so instead of coming here and then going all the way up there, I just go to a church service somewhere in the valley. And a couple of months ago I had that opportunity. Went to St. Charles Borromeo in North Hollywood. And as I walked into the church, there was a gentleman standing on the curb outside of the church, and he had a hat on with the American flag on one side and the papal flag on the other, and a placard that said "Phony Mahoney" written on it, and he was handing out flyers on Cardinal Mahoney, and the dodging of some of the files that people have been trying to extract from him. And it was amazing. Most of the people walking in were giving the guy the high sign, saying, "Yeah, I'm with you. I understand. He should come to some kind of justice." And there are people in the legal field who say that there's a good chance he will not die a free man. If you're indicted and convicted in federal court, there's no plea bargaining. You do the time. So how will he spend his retirement? Here's a man who had been first. He'd been a priest, cardinal, leader of one of the largest archdioceses in the country, and now he finds himself spending his retirement probably consulting with his lawyers and dealing with the legal issues that fall before him. The first shall be last. And it's a shame. We see the fall from grace very clearly in the unfortunate decisions that have been made, at least by one person. And it reminds me of a little quip we used to say in the seminary. Father Jack may remember this. When a person's ordained, they're very humble. And their little phrase or little mantra might be, "I am a priest of Almighty God." And then later on down the line in their career, they get some authority, maybe a bigger title, and all of a sudden that mantra becomes, "I am an almighty priest of God." And then a little further down the line, they get more authority and more power and more status and a bigger title, and finally the mantra is, "I am Almighty God." And hence, we see that transformation of the last becoming first, and then if pride and ego and disregard maybe for the civil law takes hold, we find that person knocked from grace, and the first has become last. Now, we are very blessed here, I think, at Good Shepherd Church, because we have a clergy that really tries to be humble, that tries to serve the people. And we are also graced to have a deacon with us, because it reminds the clergy of what the foundation of our orders is. Because the Greek word for deacon actually means... servant. Oh. But servant in that context actually meant table waiter. That's the true meaning behind the word. Yeah, it was servant, like house servant, But if you want to get specific, it was your basic waiter, a table waiter. Okay, that's servant. And I say we're blessed because when we see Deacon Gary, who spends a lot of time in the office, unpaid, volunteers a tremendous amount of his time, I realize that the foundation of ministry truly indeed is service. It's not about me, it's not about my agenda, it's not about my ego, it's not about what I want. It's not about what you can do for me and how much attention you can pay me and should you be saluting the uniform because I have a Roman collar on and blah, 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 blah. But it's really about serving you, the people. Today what I'm going to do, if Gary would, I promised you that you'd be doing some writing to participate in this homily, and we're just going to spend about just 3 minutes doing this. But the first shall be last and the last shall be first, and there is something that's done in many corporations called a 360. Okay, that's where you give an evaluation on your boss. Okay, instead of the boss always evaluating you. So what I have here is just a piece of paper with 4 of our clergy's names on it: Father Brian, Father Jack, Deacon Gary, Father Mike. And it says the last will be first and the first will be last. And I'm going to ask you to just take 3 minutes. This will be timed, so it won't take any more than 3 minutes of your time. And quickly jot down, what am I doing right? What do I need to change to serve this church better? Again, thank you for sharing your comments with us. In all true humility, we want you to be first. In our eyes, speaking as clergy of Good Shepherd Church, we want you to be first because we are here to serve you. My orders, Father Brian's orders, Father Jack's holy orders, Deacon Gary's orders, do not belong to us. These orders belong to the church. They belong to you. So we certainly will reaffirm our commitment to serve you as best we can. And also remember our men and women in the military. As they serve our country and they serve us also, they need our attention and our compassion and our very gentle attentiveness to some of the needs that they may have that are not voiced and that they hold deep within inside themselves.